Hello everybody, this video is going to show you how to use the class website this year, and then I'll show you a sample notebook so you can get an idea of how we take notes in this class. So this is the front page of the website. You can see there's colorful tabs along the top, the little welcome letter, there's some general links that you might use during the year. We're just going to start from the left and go to the right through the tabs, and that'll get you a good idea about what's on this class website. So first, the calendar tab. We use, Schoology for posting assignments and things, but, sometimes you may want to see what we're going to be doing. If you're absent, you can use this to see what we did in class a little bit easier. This is what I use when I'm trying to plan out what we will be doing each week. So there's some helpful links on the top. There's some hyperlinks to help you jump, so you aren't scrolling and scrolling and scrolling as the year goes on. And then you'll see here, I have the calendar for the classes that I'm teaching, depends on the year. For example, this year, Honors Chem and AP Chem. Now, I will caution you, please don't work ahead. Things are always changing, nothing is set in stone, but this is my best guess as to what we will be doing each day. And I try to plan out, in advance. But things change, I may update it here and there. But hopefully that's helpful if you're absent or you just want to get an idea of what's coming up next. Extra Resources tab has lots of stuff on it. There's links to online textbooks. There's a link to my YouTube video. There's things you can print like periodic tables. Lots of links to other teachers' websites. There's some generic things like maybe you want to make a crossword puzzle or a search a word or you need graph paper. I tried to find some various things to help you if you need some extra studying. There's worksheets and videos, online practice tests, some silly songs and random things, simulations or whatever. I don't have things for everything. As I find something cool, I add it. If you find something you like, tell me and I'll add it to the website as well. If a link is dead, maybe somebody took their website down and it doesn't work anymore, please let me know so I can try to update it. Next is the green tab, the Honors Chem tab. You can see here that it's broken up into things that will be in your 3-ring binder and things that will be in your composition notebook. Now, if you notice, the AP Chem tab is basically the exact same layout. So I'm going to go over for one class, but it applies to both classes. In your 3-ring binder, you'll have reference sheets, study materials, the packet chapter that we're working on currently. You'll have a section for the old chapters, and then you have a section for binder paper and graph paper. If you click on the reference sheets, you'll see they're kind of organized by chapter. Things in yellow should be in your binder. Things in blue we have not done yet. If you click on a link, up pops the handout that you should have in your notebook. The study materials, very similar. These are practice tests and study things that we do during the semester. The current rainbow packet will have the chapter we're currently on. You will get copies of the worksheets in class, but maybe you lose one or you don't have your packet with you, you want to pull it up on your phone or something. Click it, up pops the PDF. There are also answer keys. Homework is for practice. So if you're going to copy an answer key, that's going to catch up to you incredibly quickly, right? I'm really hoping it can treat you like grown-ups and that you can use these answer keys to help you learn. Make sure that you are not checking them, at the first inkling of struggling. You really want to practice perseverance and pushing through and struggling with the material and trying to figure it out, not just instantly copying the answer key. So that's going to be an opportunity for you to show me that you can be mature and can make smart choices. Okay, next, let's say you want to get something from an old rainbow packet. Click the old one, click the chapter, takes you there. Right, next, composition book stuff. So there's, the handouts on how to set up your composition book, reference sheets from that reference section. table of contents, this will show you everything that should be in your composition book. We'll list if we have warm-ups. If you want to open a PowerPoint that I've done, you can get the PDF. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, there will be a link to me giving the lecture as a YouTube video. So if you're ever absent or you need to study something extra, you can go watch those YouTube videos of me giving the lecture, and I hope that's helpful to you. If you need a warm-up, you click the little warm-up button, and you can see them by chapter. You can open a chapter and can get the warm-ups that you're missing. All right, all of that is basically the exact same for the AP Chem. The only real difference here is that instead of calling them warm-ups, we call them daily practice problems, but everything else is exactly the same. The Labs tab has some info that's helpful. You know, if you need to watch the safety video again for some reason, or you were absent, there's a little interview form that you'll use. There's a PowerPoint that goes over some of the lab skills. There's some examples of things you might want, pre-labs and post-labs, the guidelines for those. We're going to skip the regular Chem Notebook tab. I'll do that in a different video because that is a little bit different than Honors and AP Chem. So let's move on to this dark blue tab about your Chem class. This is where you can find kind of the information about how we do things, like the syllabus are linked here. What do you bring every day? How do we deal with our rainbow packets? That kind of stuff. Jumping across to the pink tab, a little bit about me. So I grew up in Half Moon Bay, so not too far from here. A little bit colder. It doesn't get quite so hot over there. After that, I went to Lewis and Clark in Portland, Oregon. I majored in chemistry. I loved it. It's a very small school, which has some advantages. I had my own research lab as a sophomore. I was publishing front cover journal articles as a junior. So, you know, those small schools can be pretty great too. After that, I went to grad school at the University of Oregon. I got my master's in polymer chemistry, which is chemistry of plastics. I loved it there. They have a great chemistry department. It's beautiful. When I was done with that, there was a gap between my master's program and starting teacher school. So I had 8 months and I needed to do something for 8 months. And I was thinking, what am I going to do for 8 months of my life? And I decided I'm going to go to culinary school, something I love doing. I love cooking. It was an 8-month program, so I ended up doing that, pursuing something just because I liked it and not for a job, which is a really wonderful opportunity that I was very grateful to get. After that, I started teaching at Doherty, and I've kind of been there ever since. Mr. Farmer also teaches at Doherty. He teaches AP Economics usually. We have 2 kids, we have some pets, and that's a little bit about me. I'm looking forward to getting to learn a little bit about you this year as well. So next, I'm going to show you my sample notebook to show you how we take notes in this class. So I'm going to switch over to that. All right, so you'll have a composition notebook this year. You'll get one from me in class. This is where we're going to keep all of our warm-ups and all of our notes for the school year. So you want to be nice to it. It's going to last all year. You can see page 1 is an all about me type of a page, get to know each other. I like to put little tabs along the top and the side. I like to mark things like chapters or weeks, totally up to you. If you like it, great. Make it work for you. I like to do it to help me keep track of my stuff. Next, you'll see page 2 should be all the safety notes from the safety assignment. Then you can see we have warm-ups and notes. I will give you printouts for the warm-ups, so that'll be nice. You can glue it in. It'll have the question. Then you show all your work. You should see we have a highlighter to separate the assignments. You do one big highlighter line to show where one assignment ends and where the next assignment begins. You do not need to start a new assignment on a new page. Just put your highlighter line to divide the assignments and keep going. That way we don't waste as much space in our composition notebook during the year. When we take our notes, they're going to be titled N1, N2, N3. Notes 1, Notes 2, Notes 3. We'll have a big, bold title. You can take your notes in whatever format you like. I'll give you little things to glue in. Makes it go faster that way. You can add things like little flippies or post-it notes. Then at the end of our notes, we're going to add some required elements. We add what are called KCQ boxes. You're going to draw 3 boxes across. K is key terms, C is connections, Q is questions. Key terms are things like vocab terms, equations, etc. You don't have to define them. The connection box is where you're going to write a very specific connection that you can make in your brain to the topic you just learned about. It could be something you saw on the news, or something you read in a book, or something you learned in a different class. It is important that they're specific. Please do not say from 7th grade math class or 9th grade biology class. What they found is if you can make a very specific connection in your brain that's related to the topic but is outside of what you just learned a little bit, when your body is in a stressful situation, like when you're taking a quiz or a test and you're nervous, if you have an outside connection you've made, your brain can access and retrieve the information faster and better. And so when you're in a stressful situation, you want to help your brain be able to do well. And so that's why we do those connection boxes. Now for the questions, you're going to write 2 questions related to the material. And one thing that's interesting is that they found that all the benefit to our retention and our processing of the information comes from writing the questions, not necessarily answering them. So you'll need to write 2 questions. One of the questions can be simple, one needs to be a little more advanced. So the simple questions are what we call level 1, things like definitions, and then something you can point to an answer for. Level 2 and 3 questions are more advanced, things that you're comparing and contrasting or explaining, things that you have to do some interaction with the material. You have to connect multiple things together. You have to process it. So level 1 questions are not bad. It's just we don't want to get stuck at level 1. We want to make sure we have a variety. We want some level 1 and 2. Key terms, you don't have to define them either. And then you'll do your highlighter line and your new warm-up. And then your new set of notes, etc. We just kind of keep going. You can see. Now, the next thing we're going to do is add these color annotations. So we're not coloring for coloring's sake. What we're doing is we're using color to pop information out at our brain. We are trying to access the visual part of our brain. Some people like just taking notes plain. That doesn't mean it's the most effective for our brain. So we will be doing color annotations. They are not optional. They're a required part of your homework assignment each night after finishing notes. I like to do things like little exclamation points or color coding. Some people like to take their notes in color pen as they're going. Some like to come back and add it afterwards. It doesn't matter. I write little comments, reminders, hints, tips, warnings, things like that. Please don't get hung up trying to draw cute little pictures and make it look beautiful and amazing like an art project. I mean, if you love that, great, go for it. If it's a hobby, if you enjoy it, feel free. But that is not the intention of the assignment. The assignment is supposed to be about using brain research and how our brain interacts when it sees color and when it sees things like boxes and stars and exclamation points. So that's what the intention of the assignment is. So you can see just a couple examples of warm-ups and notes. One thing is sometimes my KCQ box is going to be super long. Some notes are more vocab heavy, some are not. Please don't draw your KCQ boxes ahead of time. Just Use as much space as you need to put anything that's important. And it's not just words you don't know, it's words that are important to the topic that you would need to understand it. Another thing to notice is please don't squish your work. There's something interesting about the human brain in that we need visual space around key ideas for the visual part of our brain to process and remember. So don't squish it all in line by line. We don't want to do that. Use as much space as needed. If you run out of space in your composition book, I will get you another one. We'll figure it out. It's more important to me that you learn than we use a couple extra pages. I always say, trees grow back, okay? So, please do not squish your work. It's really important. In all my years of teaching, I have only once had a student use 2 composition notebooks. But that student wrote so gigantic, you wouldn't believe it. So it's not a problem. Use up what you need. I'm just going to flip through some of these notes so you can get an idea, see some examples. I hope you can see how my color annotations are not, me scribbling all over the page with a highlighter. It's not me spending hours drawing little pictures. It's just trying to make things pop. So in the back, let me show you some things I like to do. I like to add in reference sheets, glue those in. I like to print a small little periodic table and glue it in like a little flippy so that it flips out of my notebook. And then I can go back to where I'm taking my notes and I can still see the periodic table. It doesn't fall off my desk. I don't forget it somewhere. So I like to put that in the back. Another thing I like to do is I like to make a little pocket in the back with a piece of paper. You just glue it on 3 sides. And then you can do things like put extra little glue-ins in there or little reference sheets you like to pull out occasionally. But it's a nice little thing to add to the back of your notebook. One thing I ask is that if you are going to add extra things to the notebook, like reference sheets, please do it in the back. Don't do it in the front. That way, when I'm trying to score your notebook and look for things, I know what I'm looking at. I'm not kind of getting confused by extra stuff maybe you've added in the middle. So those extra things, just put those in the back. Well, I know that was a lot of information to absorb. I'm hoping that by making it in a video, you can go back and rewatch it. You can rewind, kind of do it at your own pace. Remember, the point of our notebook is to help us maximize our learning. And so you can really customize it, make it work for you, as long as you have those required elements that I'm asking for. Things like the highlighter divider lines, nice big bold titles, warm-ups being in there, showing your work, taking good notes that aren't squished, adding those KCQ boxes and annotations, right? So I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys have a wonderful first week, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what amazing work you get to do in your notebook this year. All right, everybody. Bye.